I didn't ever think that this would be a topic of discussion that I would ever have in my entire life, but it is. My hair is thinning. As you can see, I'm balding, and this is one of the most humbling experiences of my life. If you don't know me, hi, I'm Nikki from She's Victorious, and on this channel, I talk about navigating life with an autoimmune disease while balancing faith, work, family, and just journeying with the diagnosis. So today, I think that it's a good time to talk about my hair thinning and balding because this is something that I'm actively going through right now. And it may be some people who are newly diagnosed with this autoimmune disease, or maybe someone who's watching that has had the disorder or has been diagnosed with this disorder for quite some time. And this is a place that we can come and just talk and be supportive of each other as we navigate through this journey and continuing to live and enjoy life to its fullest. As I've said on a couple other videos, just because you have been diagnosed with an autoimmune disease doesn't mean that your life is over. As a matter of fact, you get a clean slate. You begin to live life again to the fullest. You don't let anything like a diagnosis such as this hamper you or prevent you from enjoying life. Life is too short not to enjoy. So you may see me looking to the side. I just have some notes, some things that I just want to make sure that I discuss with you. And talk about when I first noticed thinning. If you go back to a couple of my videos, that I talked about having the diagnosis, one of the things that I think I mentioned that I wish I would have known after being diagnosed is that I would experience hair loss. So hair loss is one of the things you may experience if you ever have this diagnosis. And a few years ago, back in, I think it was 2006, which has been quite some time, I would notice that my hair would be thinning a little bit. And I used to have, my hair was really, really long, really long. And I used to wear a lot of ponytails, and I could take my ponytail and just do it like this. And I would notice, a little bit above normal hair shedding. So, I didn't dwell on it too often or think about it too much, just hoping that my hair wasn't coming out. And then I started to notice it, more and more. Then it got to the point that I didn't notice it as much. So I guess it started getting back healthy again. But here in the last few years, when I got around 2021, I noticed that my hair started thinning. And before I moved here to take a new job, I cut all of my hair off really short because I noticed that it was thinning. 2022, it was thinning, and I found a dermatologist who kind of specialized with working with patients who have the autoimmune disease diagnosis, and went to him and we did a few things. One of the things included getting injections, and I forgot how long. I went to him maybe about a year, and the first few visits, I did get some injections, and then my hair started growing back. And he did say that the injections could stimulate the hair growth, and the hair would probably grow. But sometimes in some patients, when they stopped taking the injections, the hair would start coming back out again. So we did the injections, and he also gave me, I had a prescription for some sort of ointment or what have you. So 2022, my hair started growing back. But then I noticed, even though it was growing back, I did notice that some thinning, or what looked like thinning to me, in this area. But I didn't dwell on it. Kept going, life goes on. 2023, it was good, but I still kept my eyes on, some of the things that I was noticing. Then here recently, I'd say within the last year or so, I have noticed significant hair loss, hair thinning, hair loss. And if you can see through here, you can tell that the hair isn't is uniform, because you can see right through there or what have you. And then when I part it here, you can see, the hair loss there. Then I have a huge spot on the side. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a huge, space there. And for some women, it is disheartening to lose your hair, because some of us, we are connected to the hair, our hair. We feel that we are our hair. I never wanted to experience hair loss, especially not like that. If I had to have hair loss, I wanted it to be, who wouldn't wanted things to be on their own terms? And when I say on my own terms, if all of my hair came out, fine. But I am in a perfect world. If it broke off and it would be even all over, then I could cut it down low all over and it would be the same. But because of, the baldness, the clean spots, it's difficult to get a low haircut. And, that would be like having to go to the barbershop practically every week to maintain, so the hair as it grows, it wouldn't be so obvious that you have, the big patches of baldness on the hair. But you know what? Emotionally and mentally, I guess, to be perfectly honest, I don't live my life by my hair. I have always had, all of my life, I've always had long, thick, healthy hair. And for that, I am so grateful. So much so, I've always been tenderhead. I've done practically everything that I've ever wanted to do to my hair. But mentally and emotionally, it can be draining. That you're trying to not draw attention to your hair. And when I say not draw attention to your hair, you're not trying, you try to do things to manipulate the styling of your hair so it's not so noticeable that there's a big spot here. It's not so you try to disguise it so that it's not so noticeable wherever. But, and that can play on a lot of people's psyche, because sometimes some of us are comforted by, having hair. And, if that's all you've known, to have a head full of hair all the time, losing your hair, it can be it can play really hard on your mental and your emotional well-being. I guess maybe subconsciously it could be playing on me, but I don't stop living because I would have a bald head. Because there are things that we can do, some people can do to disguise it. Some people wear wigs and weaves or whatever. I met a lady in the store here the other week, about 2 weeks ago, and she said she was completely bald and her hair looked so good, her head looked so good, and I complimented her on it. Stylist, and she was rocking it, and she made a comment that, we are so conditioned to having hair. A lot of us have been taught practically all our lives that, the more hair you have, the longer your hair is. It's like it's like a badge of honor. It's a status. But you have to understand that, things may happen in life that you can't always hide behind, having all the hair. And if you're not mentally prepared for something like that to possibly happen to you, which I don't want that to happen to anybody. But the reality of it is that things happen. I would have never guessed in a million years that I would have had an autoimmune disease diagnosis, and I would never have guessed in a million years that I would be dealing with the possibility of hair loss. And like I said before, I've cut my hair off before, and I'm contemplating, I'm sure I will cut this in the next year or so, maybe sooner than then, if it doesn't look like it's going to make a comeback. And when I did go to the dermatologist, and he did tell me that my hair follicles were still intact. So there was a possibility that my hair would grow back. But this area, if you saw it, this area is so smooth, like it's so smooth, it's soothing, that I don't feel any stubble. I don't feel anything in that area. So I highly doubt that I will get hair growth there again. It could be a possibility, but I doubt it. And what you might not find out, or you may not hear from your doctor if you ever get this diagnosis, or if you're newly diagnosed, or if you've been living with the diagnosis for quite some time, like I have. No one may not explain the impact that it may have on you with your self-identity or your self-worth. Let me let you know that your hair does not define your worth. Your hair, sometimes you may have been identified by your hair. Oh, that's the girl with the long hair. Oh, that's the girl with the long, thick hair. Don't let that be what you're known for. You know what I mean? Like, don't live your life based on your physical appearance, because your physical appearance can definitely change. And when we don't have hair, sometimes we are so pressured into looking a certain way, or having a certain image. And then too, we think a lot of times, we wonder, and I do wonder. I'm not going to say that I don't wonder. Sometimes I think about, somebody see that my hair like that, what are they thinking? Are they thinking, dang, why don't she do something about that? What's wrong with her? What's this? What's that? But I have to let myself know, girl, you can't concern yourself with what other people are thinking, or what other people may be mumbling under their breath about you and your well-being. Because what you need to understand is, thank God I'm living. Because there are so many things that could be wrong with me, or so many other things that I could have been diagnosed with. But I have been diagnosed with this autoimmune disease that just so happened, it just manifested in my hair, and it's taken my hair off. Just because I don't have any hair, or my hair may be patchy like it is, doesn't mean that I'm less than a person. And if you are having those issues or whatever, or you may be faced with those issues, in the future, I don't know. It doesn't determine your value. It doesn't determine your worth. It doesn't determine who you are. And it doesn't determine the quality of life that you have. And not in my face. Not to say that you don't want sometimes feel down, or you may not feel depressed, because you might. But you know what? That doesn't determine who you are. You got to snap out of that. Another thing, the things that I'm learning, and how to deal with the hair loss. And not only am I losing hair on my head, I don't have any eyebrows. If you can see, my eyebrows are gone. So that's another thing that I'm dealing with, the loss of eyebrows. So Nikki, how are you going to handle that? What are you going to do about that? So a new routine that I'm planning on doing is that I hired this makeup artist to teach me how to do my eyebrows. I have no clue really of how to do makeup whatsoever, but she's going to teach me how to do my eyebrows. And either I will learn and be comfortable with it, or I will learn, be comfortable with it, and still go and have what they call micro shading or micro blading to my eyebrows. So therefore I don't have to worry about it. So that's one thing I mentioned earlier about going to get my hair cut off. That may be one thing that prevents me from going to get my hair cut sooner rather than later, because I want to learn how to do my eyebrows. Because I'm sure, and this is just my own thing, and like I said, my hair doesn't define me, but I do want to have some sort of standards for myself. I don't want to walk around with a bald head and then no facial hair. I do have eyelashes, thank God. But having no eyebrows or any hair on my head. So I am going to learn how to take care of my eyebrows. And people may wonder, how confident do I feel? And like I mentioned earlier, it doesn't define me. And not that I lack self-confidence about my hair, but sometimes I am, to be perfectly honest, sometimes I am self-conscious about my hair. But at the same time, I may be self-conscious, but I have to talk to myself, girl, don't get weary, because your worth does not lie in your hair. You got to tackle this and move on, because what you experience this, because maybe I'm going through this, because I need to go through this and have this experience so that someone coming behind me that may be attached to my healing, that may be attached to my experience, so that they can get through it. You understand? And I always said that maybe God allowed me to have this diagnosis so that my children don't have to be afflicted with this. My grandchildren don't have to be afflicted with this. My great-grandchildren don't have to be afflicted with this, because I'm confident that this diagnosis stops with me. I'm confident, and I feel that this will not continue in my bloodline. I think I'm the end all that be all, or be all the end all, whatever it is that they say. I don't think that anyone else in my bloodline is going to be afflicted with this diagnosis. And as a matter of fact, I may have been diagnosed or have this diagnosis, but want to let you know, going to the rheumatologist or what have you, the disease or the diagnosis is in remission. I don't know if it will come back or whatever, but I still go to the rheumatologist regularly for my checkups and things like that. And I've always been given, not always, but in the last year or so, always been given a pretty good a clean bill of health, saying that it's in remission. So that's a good thing. So I just want you to know that feeling confident, it's sometimes hard to feel confident when you are experiencing this. But like I say, you are as confident as you feel, and you are as confident as you allow yourself to be. Don't waddle. Don't waddle in self-pity. Don't let this thing depress you, because there are things that we could be doing. If you're someone and you don't mind cutting your hair off, and you know how to do your facial makeup or whatever, hey, cut it off. If that's what you feel comfortable doing. If you don't want to do that, they got any kind of wig that you want. Go buy a wig, put a wig on. Whatever floats your boat, whatever makes you feel good, whatever it is that you need to do to get your confidence up, do it. If that means, talking to someone who's been dealing with something like this, hey, do it. You're going to have to do what you need to do to feel better, so that you don't let something like this keep you from showing up as your best you. And I always think about this, that it could, if it wasn't me, then who would it have been? Or also think about the fact that it could have been something else, and it could have been something worse. And I'm just so thankful, even though I don't want this diagnosis, but I'm just so thankful that I'm able to continue to live life. I don't let this stop me from doing whatever it is that I want to do. The only thing that's stopping me, like I said, getting this hair cut and when I'm going to do it. But hey, I'm still living. I am still enjoying life to the fullest. And I think that's something that you should be doing now. And, just want to encourage you. And I keep looking over to the side to make sure that I hit on the things that I took notes on to make sure that I address with you. I just want you to know, if anybody who's watching this, or if you know someone who's going through this, they're not alone. If you're struggling with hair loss, this channel is what we're here for, to be a supporter and to be an encourager of one another, because this is not an easy journey by far. Sometimes I may make it look easy, or you may think it's easy based on, what my experience has been. But we're here together. We're here to, provide that listening ear, provide those words of comfort, because we have to get through this together. We have to know and understand that this does not define us. This does not say that we cannot continue to enjoy life, because I am going to continue to enjoy life. Having a bald head does not stop me. They say long hair don't care. Bald heads don't care either. So I'm going to do whatever it is I can to continue to live life. I just want you to know that regardless of what you're going through, whatever stage you are in, if you have this diagnosis, that I want you to know that you are still worthy, you're still beautiful, you're always going to be beautiful, and you're still you. So I hope that I said something to, enlighten you, to inform you of some things. And most importantly, I hope that you found this as a safe place that you can come to if you need encouragement, if there are things that you want to talk about. I at this just ask you to like the channel, subscribe to the channel, and if you're someone or you know someone who has been diagnosed recently or someone who's battling this condition, ask them to come on over and join the channel. This is a community that we are here to support each other, to engage with one another, and just navigate this journey together. Because regardless of what you're going through, I still want you to know and to understand that you're, as mentioned it earlier, that you are worthy, you're beautiful, and you're still you. So until next time, enjoy life. Know that you are worthy, you are loved, and you're beautiful. So until next time, beautiful, I'll see you later. Have a good one. Bye.